Impressionnant. Hein. This small globa, it's perfectly wrinkled and totally covered with hairs, retaining humidity between the nerves because the blade is sunken, mesophyll is sunken between the nerves, keeping the water and hair on the small tops of along the nerves. Le Mapania with a long acumen. Long acumen. It's a member of the Cyperaceae, sedge family. Oui, évidemment, jamais vu ça. Ça n'est que des plantes de sous-bois. Que des plantes de sous-bois, c'est incroyable. On voit aucune plantule d'arbre, il y a des gesnés, il y a plein d'aracées. Yes, it's a rubiaceae, probably close to Psychotria, with incredibly bright blue, shiny blue, iridescent blue fruits. We see it's a rubiaceae because we see the stipules here. We see stipules. Probably Ericaceous shrub. Oh, when I see these two kind of stipular appendage which actually are not stipules but arise from the leaf stalk, probably it's a smilax. It's a monocot, probably it's a smilax. But a self-standing smilax, probably not a climbing species. I don't know at all what it is. It has alternate leaves, totally covered with hairs. Tiny zygomorphic flowers. Strange. The fruit could look like Mercinaceae, but I don't think it's a Mercinaceae. What it could be. Toute petite, toute mignonne. Angona. Before, all the Angona were in only one species, Angona malariana, both the plants growing in water and the forest plant, but now, very few months ago, hopefully, a botanist has been working on this group, and now there are at least 5 or 7 different species of Angona, and of course, the plant growing in water is totally different from the forest plants, but among the forest plants also, there are many different species between Borneo, Sumatra and Malay Peninsula, mostly. C'est un cadeau des dieux. C'est pas Elatostema. Are you surprised? I'm very surprised because this plant, everything is has white macules here. Okay, this is the Marantaceae, but this one, I was wondering, this thing may be a Urticaceae. Actually, it's a piper. I see now the spadix, terminal spadix. It is a piper, a tiny piper. I did not know that in Southeast Asia we could find small species like this. I didn't know that, of course, from tropical America, but I'm very surprised to see this here in Borneo.
You say tiny because it's close to the ground, but
yes.
The leaves are not so
yes,
tiny.
Yes, no, the leaves are big, but the global size of the plant is quite small because it's the leaves are never more than 20 centimeters above the floor, forest floor. A member of Aglaia, this genus of climbing epiphytic Gesneriaceae, most widely diversified in New Guinea and also in Borneo. And here we see all the bracts surrounding the flowers, the red colored bracts. On peut s'approcher?
Oui, top.
Red colored bracts, like a crown, around the red flowers. Here, this Piptospata, before it was in another genus. I don't remember the genus. It was not Microcalcia. I don't remember the name of the genus. But I understand maybe why, because about vegetative habit. Vegetative habit is very different from the usual Piptospata species. I mean, usual Piptospata species have a very congested, reduced stem, and all the leaves are growing around this stem, and all the roots are spreading in all directions from this base, covering the rock. But this one has a long stem and long roots covering, entering the sand. We see here, for instance, big roots, not at all similar to the usual Piptospata roots from Malaysia, for instance. And we see here the beautiful pink inflorescence. It's actually in fructescence. Fruits are being produced now. Here we see younger, bright pink inflorescence. We see it's open with the spadix, and insects emerging out of the spadix. We see many different insects. Yeah. On this small pebble along the water, we see the mosses covering the surface of the rock and all the tiny seedlings of the Piptospata. Because seeds are very small, adhesive, and they can germinate only among the mosses covering the rocks. Same as many begonias, but in this case, of course, the first roots have to be very deeply anchoring to fix the seedling among the mosses on the rock.
Tapis d'Angona.
It is a huge Marantaceae. I don't know at all which genus. Very beautiful because the totally bright red underside of the leaves. And it's strange because even when very big, more than 2 meters tall, it keeps this red undersurface color. It has the fruits here along the stem. Actually the stem finishes here, and here is a sheath off on the leaf stalk of the blade. So I don't know which genus it is. I'm surprised to see a so huge Marantaceae in Asia, in Borneo, but we know in Borneo so many things are strange and huge.
Belle couleur. Très étrange.
C'est dispersé par les gouttes de pluie. Elle n'a pas passé, ça va.
What is this?
It's incredible. It's probably a Syrtandra. Of course, it's a member of Gesneriaceae. I think about a Syrtandra. It's Cauliflorous. The flowers are rising from the stem, from the soil. I've never seen this before, of course. It's very ginger-like actually, because many Tringeras also have flowers at the ground level with bright red color, and the leaves are here. We see opposite leaves, but one is very reduced, one big leaf, and opposite one very reduced leaf.
What is surprising here?
I'm very surprised. I did think it was an Elatostema, of course, because the asymmetric shape of the leaves, everything, the habit, everything is very Argostema-like. But I did see the inflorescence a little bit surprising, and I look, it's not at all an Argostema, it's a piper. It's incredible. I've never seen a piper mimicking in such a way an Elatostema. With the red underside of the leaves, bright red. And it's not at all at the same rhythm, because the other Angona are just flowering and this one is in fruit now. We are going to Bako National Park, a sandstone emergence at one of the northern part of Sarawak, close to Kuching National Park since the 1950s. Very interesting place. Ils ont pas pris notre chalet, parce qu'on prend du temps, c'est pas 36 000 le chalet.
This is magic or not?
It's totally magical site. It's a Loxocarpus with totally silvery leaves. Why silvery? Simply because there are oppressed hairs which reflect the light. For this plant growing in quite exposed habitat on rocks, vertical rocks, totally vertical, and we see all stages. We see adult with flowers, with seed pods, and we see all the seedlings. So perfectly all successive generations are growing together on this mossy rock. The Canopteris sinuator sinus, I don't remember. We see the rhizome, swollen rhizome with arms inhibiting the empty cavities. And here we see many ants around.
Minuscule petites urnes.
Des racines. Des racines de qui?
C'est des racines, ça?
Oui, oui. Oui. And so we see all this vegetation in open field on sand, totally podzolic soils. And we see Nepenthes are growing everywhere, covering all the shrubs. Of course, among the shrubs there are Pleuarium, which is a common member of the Theaceae, but many other species belonging to Hypericaceae. There are some Ilex also. There are many Myrtaceae, of course, on this type of soil. The Dacrydium, this Dacrydium totally covered with Nepenthes. Orchids, of course, many orchids, many Discidia also among the Myrmecophilus species, and we have not to forget all the Hynophytum in the Rubiaceae. Myrmecodia are not so common, but with a very thick stem, easily spotted, but Hynophytum are everywhere, and also the small Melastomataceae, I don't remember the name, growing inside the tubers of the Hynophytum, so it's very strange because it's a kind of parasite of the Hynophytum. And so all the life, even with a very poor soil, all the new way of life is exhibited here. This is Yaniatania altifrons. This fan palm, a little bit spiny on the edges, and we can see that the leaves, each leaf is about 3 meters tall, at least 250 for the smallest ones, with this peculiar diamond shape. And we see that this funnel shaped global form of the plant, in really a funnel, actually it allows to have a huge amount of humus collected, because all the dead leaves and branches falling from the canopy are falling in the middle, and it's a huge accumulation of humus. Probably here I could say it's about 1 meter by almost 1 cubic meter of humus in the center of the base of Johannes Tasmania. Of course, the roots of the Johannes Tasmania grow inside, and also the roots of many trees around. Only inflorescence come out, but here we don't see inflorescence, and we don't see where is the tip of the palm, because we see that all the leaves actually are coming out from this litter. In the litter also many ants are living inside, and also there is a huge ant nest in the middle. This is a very beautiful individual, and here in Bako the leaves are very narrow compared to many other populations I've seen in West Malaysia, in the Johor state for instance. Perfect plant in the understory of the kerangas forest, but it can also grow in a more usual dipterocarp forest. Here it's a kerangas with many other species other than dipterocarps. We leave this beautiful place. Pterizanthes, it's of the grape family. Pterizanthes is also the same family as the tetrastigma, which are the host plant for the Rafflesia. But this is a small liana, but when we look at the inflorescence, it's incredible. We have this swollen, flattened axis, and we see all the female flowers inside the axis, the little protuberances, and male flowers are at the end of these stalks. And we see the fruits which are beginning to ripe, but not yet fully ripe. They will become probably black because the axis is red, so probably the fruits will become black. Wow.
Incredible.
And the leaves are here, thick leaves.
And simple, but bright.
Simple, yes. Peltate, a little bit peltate. We see insertion of the pétiole is here. Very thick. C'est adorable. On n'avait jamais vu si près, hein.
Adorable.
Là, je me souviens que c'était beau comme ça.
Non, couleur.